Hi, this is Rick Clovis with Oklahoma State University Extension, working in Pawnee and Osage counties. I just wanted to kind of do a filler-in video on why we treat those pumpkin seeds the way we do to get them to germinate, why we file the edges, why we soak them in hydrogen peroxide for 30 minutes and then in water for 4 to 6 hours. And it's part of the germination process that these giant pumpkin seeds have. Like in normal seeds, lots of those seeds have hard seed, it's called, and we want to know the germination rate. Like on wheat or soybeans, we'll do a germination test so we know how many seeds to plant, so we can plant extra and get actual live plants coming up out of the ground. Or like an alfalfa seed, lots of those seeds are hard and they won't germinate that first year. It may take them years to germinate out in nature, so we mechanically scratch the surface of those small alfalfa seeds, and that causes them all to germinate, and we'll get a good stand of alfalfa. Or like on something like Cerisa lespedeza, which is an introduced species of legume into some of our native pastures that's been used on highway construction sites and poor soil. It's a legume, so it fixes nitrogen, so it does well on those poor soil sites, but then sometimes it's gotten into our native grass and we don't like it because once it gets tall, cattle won't eat it. And Cerisa produces thousands of seeds per plant per year, and those seeds can be very hard, so it may take them years to germinate. So it's very hard to get rid of once you get that into your landscape. So kind of how that pertains to giant pumpkin seeds is that we've selected these pumpkins to produce big pumpkin seeds. They obviously also produce big seeds, which can be very hard and take longer to soak to get to where they will germinate by softening that outer coating of the seed up. So we do that by filing down that edge, soaking in the hydrogen peroxide and water. Normally they would have gone through that process, in the ground through the winter and through that weatherization process. But since we've harvested these seeds and dried them and put them in the refrigerator to keep them where we can have them ready when we need them, we need to go through this process of filing the edges and soaking the hydrogen peroxide and the water and get them ready to germinate, so we'll have a good germination rate when we plant them. So kind of some pictures of what happens if you don't. We planted about 20 and we had 3 that kind of had problems. We didn't quite get them done well enough. You can see on this seed right here that's split open just on one side. It was, when it came up out of the ground, and I'll show you some other pictures, it was clamped on right there. You can see this where it's yellow, and that didn't really cause any big deal. It just came off very easily once I kind of pried it off with my fingers real easily. But we can look at some of these other pictures as well. And like on this one, you can see the seed that's still clamped on there. Here's another one like that, clamped on, and it just, you can tell on this one even it's going to really be a problem for that plant to get opened up. Or this one was probably one of the bigger ones where the seed, only one of the cotyledon leaves came up out of the ground, the seedling leaves. The other is still hung up down here because that seed shell is clamped onto it, and I tried to help it out and pull it out, but it ended up breaking off. You can see right here, and so that seed's probably not going to do very well. So just wanted to give you some lessons on that and why we do that to the seeds, and make sure you go ahead and do that to your seeds.